So we're calling it twice, the function. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to place this result, which now equals the return data of validate email, into our email feedback span. So email feedback text result. And we can do the same thing just down here. Email feedback dot text result. So as I mentioned earlier, slightly inefficient because we're calling the function twice and then using this twice to put the same thing in. You could take this and apply it to another function. That would be slightly more efficient because then you'd only have to again call this function again. We might do that towards the end of the tutorial, but for now we've taken this result variable which has the contents of validate email, which has the contents of data, which come from the contents of email.php. So it's a slight slide of data here. And then we're applying it to email feedback. So let's go ahead and check this out. We click in, we get this message, we've seen that. As I start to type, we should be getting, okay, so it appears that something might be wrong here. Okay, so let's have a look here. Okay, so I've returned this data just inside of here. So let me just put that down there because we were returning it inside of this function here, which in turn wasn't giving us this result value we needed from the function. Let's go ahead and test that again then. So I click in here and I start typing, and we should be okay. So let's go ahead and do this another way. Let's pull this function down here, and let's in here create a variable called data returned, and that equal to data, and then we'll return data returned, and we'll just double check everything here. So yeah, okay, let's see if this works. No. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stick to, I mean, this is version on JavaScript now. You should be able to see how lazy jQuery makes me. What I'll go ahead and do is I will just take the result here that we did before, or take this email feedback selector. Let's get rid of that. And let's get rid of the var in front of this validate email function. Okay, so I'll just go and explain what we are doing. Now what we're actually doing is removing the returned value of this function, and I'm just calling the function itself. Now once the data has been returned, I'm going to go ahead and use a selector to select the email feedback span, and then apply text inside here, which is the return data. So the validate email function returns the data to this email feedback span. So let's go ahead and try that. You can see I've just started typing and I've typed Alex, and we have the text that doesn't appear to be a valid email address. Then I go ahead and continue typing, and we retrieve this valid email address message. Then when we come away from it, you see that it disappears. However, when we come back, it revalidates it. So if, for example, it was just Alex at, as soon as we click on here, it revalidates the text inside of there. Okay, so we've looked at a basic concept of email validation. Obviously, if you were using this for every form field, it would be inefficient. So some kind of function that you would create to validate forms based on their type would be better in this case. However, in this we've just demonstrated posting data to our email.php file from Ajax using our post HTTP request, and essentially then returning the data and putting it into an HTML element here. So that's just some basic email validation in jQuery.